I apologize for earlier, but I'm back. Yes, so you just need to suss out. Right now, I can't really give individualized advice because everyone's situation is different. So weigh out how much you can take on. Also, what you want to get out of it. What grades are you getting? Are you happy with those grades? Then you don't have to change anything in terms of your work schedule. If the grades are suffering, then probably maybe you are not giving your schoolwork enough time. Then probably free up some more time for schoolwork. If your family is suffering, then probably you are not giving family time enough time. So maybe sacrifice getting a 90% to an 80% to be able to spend time with your family. So it's just like that. It's going to be a constant juggle. When I say if family suffers or not, trust me, family is going to be affected, okay? Whichever way. But making a decision to go into med school, it's not the same as making a decision to just go and do any other degree. So by all means, sit down with your family, make sure it's not just your decision by yourself. For me, it wasn't just my decision because my husband kind of knew where, when you're just talking or when you meet up with someone, oh yeah, this is what I did after high school, this is where my hopes were, then I branched out this way, and now, and he always said, oh, I think you would make a good doctor, I think you should. But I was quite happy doing physio because I had weighed the options and I really loved the idea of rehabbing people. Before I made my decision, I had gone on a rotation in a hospital back in Botswana. So in that hospital, you went to surgery for a week, dentist for a week, pharmacist for a week, physios for a week, just like that, before you made your decision as to what you want to then do from the pre-medical group I was in. And okay, there was a young, very enthusiastic physio from Ireland who just made me think physio was the best thing ever. So I went with physio, and as you can see, I'm now old, but I've been a physio for more than, I don't know, guys, I can't say, okay, without revealing too much. But as soon as I turned 40, yes, I said 40, that's when a crisis started with me. When I turned 18 or 21 or 25 or 30, I never went through any crisis. I was above all that, okay? Nothing ever faced me in life until the big 4-0. And I was like, what? What have I done with my life? Is this what I really wanted to do? But at that time, again, it's like I had really found my niche in physio, what I really enjoyed. But I thought, okay, I could do medicine, and then this is what I could do with it. So then I thought, okay, let me challenge myself even more, because I feel like you get to a point in time where you feel kind of dead, like your brain cells aren't being stretched or challenged. So yeah, then I did that. So you really need a supportive environment. I feel like one day I should get my husband to do a very honest video. Very honest. Then you'll hear it all, okay? The reality of it is hard, guys. It's really hard. And I think when you really want to go into medicine, a lot of people will tell you, why do you want to do it? Why? Why do you want to do medicine? This answer, because you are so desperate, you really want to be accepted into medicine, you convince yourself that you really know why you want to do it. But trust me, once you actually get admitted, that decision is actually going to be tested and questioned over and over again. And it's the truth. A lot of people will drop out along the way, just like any other program. But the reality is this is hard. I think if you did medicine as an undergrad when you are young, it's hard, but I think it's okay. But once you are older and you've actually enjoyed life before, you know what a Friday night or a weekend is, and for your weekends to be swiped off, no more weekends for you. I don't know, guys. So I know and I'm aware that there is cohorts behind me still in OUM who are not having to do weekly tests like we used to do. So they've kind of adopted more the Australian model of teaching, where people go through a semester and then they have end of term or end of semester exams, stuff like that. So maybe that will work out a bit easier in terms of the stress levels, where you are not constantly thinking this week test, next week test, another week, so maybe, yeah. I don't like change. I'm old, so I was just like, I hope they don't change, because I'm used to being forced to study because I know there's a test coming. But yeah, that I know that has changed, so there's no weekly tests anymore. My little girl, I made sure. So when I was applying, there's an, I don't know what you call them, but a lady from OUM end, the one I was sending my applications to, she said to me, send me your weekly rundown, like schedule of how you think you're gonna do it. And she actually flipped it back to me and said, you are not ready. I'm going to give you another week to do the schedule and come back to me. So she wants you to really research on the lectures, the journal clubs, everything that you have to attend, of which she will give you all that information, right? But she wants to see that you are actually slotting it in. She wants to see where you are doing the lecture, what you are doing, when you are exercising, family time, all of that. And she will again grill you once you say you are ready and you resubmit it. I cried. I actually cried when she was grilling me. But yeah. And then you are assigned a mentor. So you have to catch up once a week with your mentor. It's not a physical catch up, it's virtual catch up. So my mentor, when I started, he's a sports physician in Melbourne, and he used to call me every week. I can't remember what day of the week it was. And he'll be asking me, how has your week been? And he was a tough man. He would ask me, what did you do for exercise? Have you been outside? So he wants to see that. He also wants to see what you've done with the family. And then we go through the weekly test to see what I got right, what I got wrong. He would be asking me questions to make sure that even if I got an answer correct in a multiple choice question, I got the concept. So he wouldn't necessarily, sorry, have I been calling him a she? It's a he or they. Let's just say that. I don't like, in my culture, in my language in Botswana, we don't have he, she. It's just same for whether you're a man or a woman. So that's why I often mix it up. But yeah. So he would ask me that. In case you just pick A, you guess A correct and you get it correct, but really you don't know it, right? So he wouldn't tell you what the question is or whatever, but he would ask you questions himself surrounding whatever concept it was to make sure that you get it. Yeah. So he would do that, and then he would ask me as well about exercise and time I've spent with the family. If I scored like maybe a 90, he would tell me that's a waste of time. He would tell me a 70 is good enough. Can you please go out there and leave? Can you go out to that party? Go out, take your daughter out walking. So I really liked that, because he would push me to, if I got 100%, I'll be embarrassed, I'll be like, oh my God. So whenever I would study, if I feel like I've studied and I know enough, then I would go family time. But I made sure that my Fridays were family days, okay? So I didn't go to work on Friday. That way I could go pick my daughter up from school, and then we go do something. We don't go home right away. And then in the evening, we will have like a family movie night. Whether I think the material this week is very hard or not, it's family time. And then on the weekend, we'll wake up, we'll sleep in, wake up, but then I'll go to the library around 3 p.m. and I'll come back after they're asleep. But that was the time when I consolidate the lectures for the week. My poor husband, over the weekend, he's the one who runs around with the activity for the child, grocery shopping, cooking. Guys, it's been tough. Like, now I look back the past 3 years, I'm like, wow, it feels like it was 6 months. It feels like a duration of 6 months. Your house becomes chaotic because as a woman, sorry guys, as a woman, there's a certain standard you want of cleanliness. My husband is clean. He'll probably argue that he's cleaner than me. But I guess if now a lot of things are just on him, some things will have to slide. Yeah, I just remember right now, if anyone is coming over to the house, I will make sure that I clean, so that when you come, it's nice and spotless. But I remember days where I'll be sleeping even in the afternoon because I studied all night, and then someone will turn up at the door and there's toys everywhere. The house is a mess. You get to a point where you're just like, you need to focus on what matters, okay? The rest can slide. And at the time, you surround yourself with people that understand what you're going through, what you're doing. And of course, some friends will fall off. Be ready for that as well. You need mental strength. The relationships that matter will remain. The ones that don't really matter, they will go. So that's fine. It's the price you pay. It's the sacrifices you make along the way to get to where you want to go, right? So you make it more quality over quantity with every time that you spend with the people that you love, with your husband, with your daughter. It's like this. Yeah. How did you manage having a child and med school and work all at the same time? Also at work, because I said that at the same time I started being a sole trader, that meant that I was a lot more flexible with my hours at work and the days that I want to work. Because I've told you I had weekly tests, and also I would have end of term exams. When it comes to end of term, I would block off a week and study. So because I rent off spaces in GP clinics, I utilize the reception staff, and they are super supportive. I started with them before I started med school. So when med school came, I discussed with them how my schedule was gonna be, but they're just so supportive. None of them has ever complained. It's just, okay, Karen, you are booked out on this day. Did you want to open this other slot? I'll be like, no. And sometimes people are booked in for maybe 2 weeks, and then I'll say to them, I'm sorry, I didn't realize, but actually I can't come in. And they're happy to call and reschedule all those appointments. So you do need a good work environment, supportive. Although, having said that, I do have colleagues who are nurses, who are in the same program, who have managed to work full-time up until this point. When you do your clinical rotations, obviously you're not going to be able to work, right? But they've been able to do that. So we do have stars. We have geniuses in the program who are able to do that, but I couldn't. So I was working 3 days a week. Because we have to pay, I'm tired, but I'm doing my best, trust me. And also because we have to pay. Yeah, you do have to pay a lot too, but you also have to pay private fees. And then of course we were building at the same time. I don't know. Yeah, never mind. At the wrong time we're building. But I had to pay those private OUM fees. So I hired another girl who then works for me as well. And now that I'm going to be going to start rotations, I'm actually advertising to be able to at least hire another physio. I do have that capacity to hire another one. And then hopefully that will help me in terms of all these. Imagine if I'm meant to move to Perth. That means I'll have to find a place to rent. If I don't have people I know there already, right? Yeah, so those are more expenses. So these are some of the things to think about. 3 days for the first 3 years. You think that will be possible? Yes, that will be possible for you. Second question, what year are you in? I'm about to start 4th year, guys. Have you started clinical rotations? So throughout, from 2nd year, I was coming to this hospital. We did, you have a mentor that you meet every week, and most of them are GPs. So I would come here for 1 hour per week to kind of see the cases that they see. But now, fourth year, this is when now it's going to be full on rotations. But let me tell you what we are doing right now that I'm really loving. There's something called clinical skills. I've loved it so much. Pretty much it's like OSCE cases, right? We had every so often we go to Brisbane, which is where the headquarters for Australia are. So we were there for 1 week in October. Yeah, I think, yeah. October or November, I don't know. Don't ask me what day it is. But it was so good. We even had like models, you know, come in so that we could work on them and stuff. And now we are continuing. Today is the last session actually. So they will put you on the hot seat, or the radiology sessions, where I have enjoyed it. It's tough, puts you on the spot, but I have enjoyed it. You will enjoy it and time will go fast. Yeah. Yeah, so rotations. Have you found the uni is supportive despite being online? To be honest, I think OUM overdoes it in terms of support. I think because this is the first online degree I've ever done. But also don't be fooled by the word online. Yeah, I think the first 2 years, most of them, yes, are like online lectures. But the presence is there, the individual interaction is there. They know you, they know us, because the cohort sizes are not that big either. So don't be fooled and think it's online you can hide. They know you in and out, the stuff they ask you. Then there's also annual conferences where we have to go and meet your lecturers and everyone and your other colleagues. Trust me, you are not hidden. I feel like they overdo it. Let me tell you why I even think this. I'm not thinking it, why it's like that. So last week, a few weeks before then, I get an email from our vice chancellor. Hi Karen, I'll be in Canberra on this day, let's catch up. So they go from state to state catching up with all their cohort. You know, so they really want to get to know you as a whole person and see how they can support you. I have never felt so supported in my program. I don't know whether it's because of they are online, therefore they are compensating for that, or whether it's medicine, therefore even if I had gone to a brick and mortar uni, then this is the amount of support I would have gotten. I don't know, but I would be lying if I say I feel it's too much. You know, sometimes I feel like I really need to work because they know me and I don't want to disappoint them. And these are people who have busy schedules. We have neurosurgeons, we have people, plastic surgeons, orthopedic, people who have real careers, but they are there making sure that we are going from one step to the next, making sure that they are cheering us on, making sure they ask you a question. If you don't know, can you go get this book, Karen? Can you go read this chapter? So when people are that dedicated to your own success, sometimes you feel like you also need to pull your weight. Whereas if it was a place where you felt unseen, you could easily hide, right? Yeah, so don't be fooled by the fact that it's online. It's not. It's full on. It is. Yeah, so he did come. We caught up, and it's not just us in Canberra. He's been everywhere. They do this all the time, and it wasn't the first time he was catching up with us this year. I think I've seen him 4 times this year already. But again, they don't force. They will ask you if you are available to catch up, okay? So if you have work that day, they are flexible. Okay, last time we met on a Wednesday. Does Wednesday still suit you? Or do you want to meet on a Thursday? He came and we literally did OSCE cases. He came prepared for 3 hours because me and my other colleague who is in Canberra, we are about to go on rotations. Imagine, we are still at least 1.5 to 2 years away from OSCEs, but they are making sure that we've already started prepping as if we are doing OSCEs next week. The support is there. I will be lying to you if I say the support is not there. How do most people find uni not working full time? Yeah, so for me, I wasn't working full time, PS, there's a payment plan with the university, okay? So you can discuss with them how much you want to be paying per month, reasonably, of course. I wish I was paying $200 a month, but no. So they calculated, and now I am paying 2,300 and something. So I'll just say 2,400 per month. Yeah, so they calculated it up until the end of my program. I think I'm going to be able to even pay it off before I finish the program. So you can actually sit down with the bursar or even online, but when you go to Brisbane, she's there. You can go to her office and then you can calculate and see what works for you and how much over how long. So some people were more organized than me. They had their finances together, okay? But for me, I'm having to do it as I'm going. I know people who made contact with OUM and then went away for a few years to go and save up and then come aboard when they know that they won't worry about finances. But yeah, I'm still here. I haven't been working full-time. There's people who've been working full-time. Don't forget there's banks. I know for sure Bank of Queensland will also give you loans, but to a certain, I don't know how much that loan is. It's not a lot to cover your fee, so you still don't bank on that one. I think for the bank it should just be back up when you are really desperate, you know. But yeah, think about that. For me, my husband is able to pay off the mortgage side of things, so whatever I work for is just to pay off OUM fees. I hope this helps. Send me more questions. Don't feel bad. Let's do this for each other.